Hello, YouTube! I hope you're doing very, very well. Welcome to my video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mariah. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, welcome. If you have, welcome back. Today, I would like to talk about something that I have talked about before, but I think it is even more relevant and important to keep bringing this topic up because, of course, as we know, in the news daily, we get told these stories and we see all these things in the news, and it's basically giving us two options, right? And if you follow Abrahamic religions, then you know that typically there are three options. You could be Muslim, you can be Jewish, or you can be Christian, and it all goes back to the same guy, Abraham, who had made these religions and whatever. One of my Twitter friends, I like to call him, his name is Conrad. He does a great podcast if you're ever in the mood. He's got really great content. He's really great at asking questions and starting a really good conversation. And he tweeted the other day about desert tribe religions. And I was like, you know what? That's what we're seeing. We're seeing that battle play out. And really, like, every time that I see that, and of course, I'm never on the side of innocent people losing their lives, never ever. It's just when you see the news and you see the rhetoric and that it's all about religion, I just think to myself, man, I really wish that people who are maybe teetering on the sides of religion or are looking at it and thinking that there's nothing bigger than themselves, there's no higher power, that they would, and they do stumble upon it without me making videos or anybody making videos. However, if I had found this story that I'm about to tell you earlier in my journey, I think it would have saved me definitely a lot of time and a lot of frustration. And I know that is a sentiment that a lot of people feel these days, especially women who have been raised in a Abrahamic type household. You'll have to excuse me, I've got a little bit of the sniffle still, and there's a noisy chair here. But there's more than just the Abrahamic religions of that you have to follow this man in the sky who is telling you what you can and cannot do, and if you don't follow what he says, you're going to end up burning in an afterlife forever and ever, and you won't be there with your loved ones. You'll just be on fire for the rest of eternity. Or if you kill yourself in some magnificent way that helps the cause, that you will be in a heaven with so many virgins, or that if you are a certain, you come from a certain group, that this place is promised to you. And there's just so many lies and really strong deceits that just are not rooted in any sanity, unfortunately, that people are buying into and thinking that they need to be a part of this in-group in order to receive something later. When, why are you worrying about later when you don't know what's going to happen and you're just being asked to do these things in blind faith? And a huge qualm, I should say, that I have with a lot of religious programming is that, sorry, I just got like a wave of like, the issue that I have with the religious programming is that they make people think that they are deserving of one thing over another group because their sky daddy had told them that this is for you and this is not for them, and that you're special because you follow me, you're special because you listen to these weird rules and you do the weird things that I say, and even if I ask you to kill your son, you need to do that, and you need to chop off a piece of his manhood as soon as he comes out of the womb. There's just so many red flags that I get with mainstream religion, at least. And then, a lot of people think that the other option is turning to something like Buddhism, and that you have to get rid of all of your desires, and that the only way to really find the truth of life is through suffering, and yada yada yada. Like, it's just, there's just so much reaching for something beyond that takes you not only out of body, but it takes you off of this planet. It takes you and your mind specifically somewhere where you are just out of your depths, you know, and then that's when, you know, we get the religious books saying that of course you feel out of your depths, of course this is what it's going to feel like, because your religious leader, whatever you want to call him, your God, is the one that knows everything anyways, and you don't know anything, and you're not supposed to know anything, and whatever, what have you. And it just, there's just such a huge disconnect with actually living life and being a human being in a human body and enjoying the experience of being in a body and allowing yourself to feel pleasure, allowing yourself to feel all the things of life, which sometimes might include suffering. I don't think that it's really supposed to on a level of, you know, the ideal human life. I don't really think that we're supposed to suffer in any way that is, you know, virtuous or whatever, but we are in a life cycle where unfortunately there are these, well, there is this main other being who is anti-life and is not exactly wanting humans to thrive in the way that we're meant to. And that being, who I'm talking about, is the God of the Abrahamics. So you see how there's like a little bit, you know, if you kind of like shift your lens and change your perspective by knowing another story, a secret third option, then you can kind of be like, oh, yeah, like he's jealous because there's something to be jealous about. Or he says that you need to mutilate your body because your body is sacred, and he knows that the power within the human body, male or female, when it's unadulterated, is very powerful. And especially in regards to, you know, things like mating. And I really do believe that that's why, I don't know if YouTube's gonna censor me, I don't think I have enough views, of, you know, mutilation is something that is like practiced like it's normal in Western society. And, you know, it's seen as such a huge tragedy. Of course it is, in, you know, in places like Africa, we hear about it happening to females, and we know that it's awful and disgusting, but we do it to men and like it's normal. And I can't, well, obviously there's lots of traumatic things, but that has to be a huge trauma to men, and they don't even realize it because it's their parents making a decision to mutilate them right out of the womb because it's what their God would want. You know, like that has never ever ever made sense to me, and that you have to do that in order to be clean and whatever. So I would like to share with you the secret third option. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know what I'm going to say. However, I do think it's worth bringing up again and again and again, because for me, I never know when somebody's going to stumble upon my videos, and I just really feel compelled to keep sharing this story, because if I had known it sooner, things in my life might be, well, I don't know how different they would be, but it would have been nice to know. So, going off of the idea that the Jehovah, Yahweh figure is not who you think he is, oh, where does that come from, right? Why is that even something that can be said in the first place? Well, there's an alternate story, and Mr. John Lam Lausch has said this before, and he said that ancient Gnosticism, in the way that he has recently uncovered it, is the alternative to all major and every single religion ever. Now that is a huge statement, and I'm with him. I'm with him on that. I do really think that it is the story that the human species needs to not only wake the up, but also to learn that there is something engaging with us that is not competing with us, that is not jealous of us, that is not wanting us to mutilate our bodies in the way that they're made, and is not asking us to kill our children to show our loyalty. Like, there's so many weird things. But once you realize that that figure is in fact the enemy of life, it makes sense, and it all adds up. So what is this alternate story, you ask? Well, let me tell you. I will tell you in a relatively quick version, because if I were to make this like hours and hours, it would be doable, right? So picture in your mind the center of our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy, baby. That is where we are. It is very important for this story to know where we are, and it's not a story that just says 7 days and 7 nights, everything was created, and you have to like make shit up to make that make sense. It's just such a bad story. Like, there's plot holes everywhere, right? Anyway, so picture in your mind the center of our Milky Way galaxy. Now, beyond this center and through the black hole there, this is called the pleroma. And this is what the Gnostics called the pleroma, is the Gnostic heaven, you can call it. And John Lamb Lash has located it to this area, and I have to say that I agree with him, because even before I knew about this story, I knew that I had been pulling energy from the center of our galaxy. I just called it like the central core. And you know, he identified it as the center of our galaxy, but this is the pleroma. This is what the Gnostics refer to as the pleroma, which means the fullness, which you can think of as heaven, if that helps you rationalize kind of what's going on. You know, this is a real location. It's not just some foo-foo, what have you, that you might read in some of these books where you just have to like close your eyes and believe. This is a real location, right? And it is around a Sagittarius cluster, and there's other things that start to play, and you start to realize why those are such big points in mythology. And I also think I'm a Sagittarius. I'm an Ophiuchus, whatever that sign is, and this is where all that stuff is located. And personally, not to, you know, go off anything with my ego, however, I think that having that flavor in my life allows me to receive that story, and which is why I share it, because it is a fabulous, but its scale is pretty big. So anyways, we're in the center of the galaxy, and this is a pleroma, and this is where these creator beings exist. Now, they're not human beings like you and I. They are giant torrents of energy. You can think of them kind of being serpentine in shape, or like a vortex, or like a tornado. You know, if you've watched anything about telluric energy, then you know that the energy that exists here on Earth is kind of in that same like a tubular or whatever, what have you. And these beings exist in male, female pairs. And what they do is they make creations, and they make them, well, they enter a sort of ecstatic dance, not unlike sex and how we make creations here, how we create life. And in doing these dances and with the intentions that they hold, they create nucleic acid packets that then get sent back through the pleroma and into for our story, into our Milky Way galaxy, and they will then follow filaments of energy, life. I think this is string theory, don't quote me on that. And we'll go to certain spots in our galaxy where they can gestate and get life, and basically it's an experiment. It's an experiment. And I know that that's probably not what most people want to hear, is that life is an experiment and that not everything is perfect, right? Like, this was huge for me to grapple with, but it's really a good thing to know, you know? And so for the purposes of our story, the Aeon Sophia, or Sophia, wisdom, and the Aeon Thelete, who John Lamlash before had called Christos, but I also agree with his pivot of Thelete, which I think is intention. I think it's a Greek word for intention. Either way, it's important to know that there is a male-female pair who designed what John Lamlash calls their designer species, this amazing creation that you know is us, and we were made in the imagination of these creative beings. And that was their experiment. That was their chosen work, was to create a life form that could experience all these things, that could interact with each other, that could interact with them. I don't know if that was intended, but it happens. And that was their creation, and it was created by the male and female pair. However, and this is what John Lamlash says, he's got, like, you can get this sent to you in email, and it's really amazing story, and I highly recommend. I'll include the links below. What happened was that they may have over-endowed their beautiful human species with perhaps too many genius qualities, and we had, like, self-combusted, I think the story goes, like 10 times, nine times about. And so Sophia, or Sophia, up in the pleroma, you know, was reacting to this. And as the mother of her species, also a creative being just by nature, just by what she is, she started to imagine or daydream in the way that we do. And, you know, obviously we do it on a much smaller scale, but if you're on my videos, you probably know what the law of attraction is. That's you daydreaming. And her daydreaming was about a solution for her creation to thrive. How can humanity be what she intended us to be, which is enjoying beauty, enjoying care, enjoying each other, enjoying life, enjoying our setting, you know, and even going further and really experiencing our full capabilities in a sense that we would not destroy ourselves. And by nature of her being creative and the fact that she was doing this imagination, this daydreaming of a solution for humanity, she did it without her male counterpart. Whoopsie daisy. Everything that they need to do like that should have been done, well, should have, I say, but it's supposed to be, more or less. There's no real rules, but you know, there's guidelines that exist for a reason. And she did this without her male consort. She did it without Thelete. So what this did is, because she is actively daydreaming and actively engaging in a creative sense, her imagination, her daydreaming mind shot out through the pleroma with the human genome attached to her, and into the Milky Way galaxy she fell. Oops. You know, that's an anomaly that nobody was expecting that. And she certainly wasn't. And because she did this daydreaming for a solution for humanity to thrive, because she did it without her male counterpart, as she shot through the pleroma, something came off of her body, of her dreaming body that was now barreling through space. It was like she had an excess, or it is just an anomaly. It is, I don't remember what they call it in the text, but it's something that has to do without like that she did this without Thelete, that she did this without her male counterpart, that she ended up creating what is described as an aborted fetus. And it is something that was not created in the pleroma. It was not created with intention, but it was created as a result of the word is deficiency, the deficiency of the male, or the whatever, but it's a deficiency that she didn't do this daydreaming with her male counterpart. And so what that did was that there was this like offshoot of her that had a life of its own, but it was not created by the aeons. It was another anomaly that came as a result of Sophia not doing this intention for humanity to thrive with her male counterpart. It was like she had an accidental son who is male, because it was like she created the inversion of the male by accident, because she didn't create the solution for humanity to thrive with Thelete. It's very important to know that. And she was still barreling through space. She saw this abomination and she was like, ew, like, what are you? Did not create you on purpose. Don't know how you got here. Go away. And that's it. It says this in the text, where she like sent him the fuck and covered him in clouds and said like, listen, just stay away from me. I'm busy. Like she's still barreling through space as this is happening. But because she is such a powerful creator, that she can just imagine these solutions, and her solution for getting this guy away from her was, okay, to like go over here, you're covered in clouds, I don't see you, I'm busy, right? And so as he was over here covered in his clouds, and he technically had a semblance of Sophia's creative power, because he was technically from her body, although without intention, which left a void. It left a void of something in him. And he was surrounded by these clouds, and he looked around and he was like, I'm the only one here. There's nobody else but me. And he created these like little minions called archons, and he created these minions to basically, this is how it's described in the text, is that he is blind, but because of who he comes from, he has this like semblance of knowing that there is something to create, but he doesn't know how to create it. He cannot create blessings. He cannot create actual life. He can only create mimicry of real life. He can only create like drones and like worker bee kind of energy kind of guys. And so, you know, he did. And another thing that he says, and this is what it says in the text, that you will have no other god but me. I am a jealous god, and it's only me, and there's nobody else, and blah, 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 blah. And as soon as he said this is when Sophia, a semblance of her at least, has shown up to him, and she showed up in a way that he could see, because there's something in the text about how he can only look down, he can't look up and see the pleroma. So he was looking down, just like a partial blindness kind of thing, and it's described that he saw her in the reflection of the water, and she had said, oh no, 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 like, you're not the only one, buddy, you came from me, and you need to chill, because I'm busy and I am trying to make a home for the creation that I came here to save, which is not you. And this created further jealousy, further envy for us, or against us, I guess, because we were and are the creation that was intended, that was planned. It's kind of like if a mother, like if a single mother had accidentally had a baby by like some random guy and then like put it up for adoption because she didn't actually want it, and then later had babies of her own with a loving husband and they created a beautiful family, and then the boy that was adopted out because he wasn't wanted was like jealous of those kids. If that makes any sense. But that's kind of like, obviously the scale is much bigger and much deeper in human history, but it's kind of the gist of it, is that humans were created with intention, in love, in care, and so much so that the mother of our species, which almost never happens, especially at the age that she was at, she's a young Aeon, and that she entered into the experiment to be the solution for humanity to thrive. Okay, so this, they call him the Demiurge, this aborted fetus guy that Sophia created by accident. And, you know, he is Yahweh, he is Jehovah, he is that jealous tribal god of the Abrahamics. And that is why he doesn't want humanity to thrive. That is why he actively thinks of ways and like tactics and different insidious stories and patterns for humanity to, to have to go through. Sorry, a little bit of hiccup. To knock us off our course, because he knows that he was an accident and was not wanted and not intended, and that really like woke him up and set him on such a like crazy vendetta against us, the humans that were intended, that are meant to be here, that Sophia came for, to assist, to help. You know, she didn't come for him. He was a complete accident and an anomaly and an abomination, and he still is an abomination, you know. And she had told him so many times, she had said, listen buddy, didn't plan this, sorry, you be there. She's like, here, I'll even give you a little more of my imagination so you can create, so that you're not alone, but you're gonna be over there doing your thing. That's fine, you have the freedom to do that, do it, but don't interrupt me, don't bother me. And that just made him more jealous. And this is still as Sophia is barreling through the Milky Way galaxy, and of course as an Aeon she knows some of the areas of the galaxy as I would assume that maybe humanity was not her first creation, or at least she would know where certain filaments would go and things like that. And the Demiurge was always tracking her, and there was a point where he had knocked her off her course, her intention, her fixation on creating a solution for humanity, and had literally, it's like a wave of like gnats, like when you're, and I think it must have been John Lamlash who said this, that she is like a woman at a loom creating a beautiful piece of tapestry, and she keeps getting like bombarded by these little flies, these little gnats, where like if you get one and you're in the middle of the loom, it's like, and the thread breaks, you know. And so she was around the Orion star system, which I think is very profound and important to remember. And this is where the Demiurge had caught her and knocked her off her path, off her concentration. And because she was carrying the human genome with her, this caused this like knockoff of her path caused the human genome to shear. This is the separation of the sexes. This is something that is deep, deep, deep human history, and that I'm hoping to get more into, because I think that the Orion male and the references that we see all the time in media and Freemasonry harken back to this moment where men, the human male aspect, was the genome rather was left in this star system to gestate and create and gain life somewhere that wasn't Earth. And I also think that that's why they don't necessarily have the same abilities as women do here with Earth and on Earth. But it's not that they're not meant to be here. It's just another part of this whole story that kind of adds another layer of, where you're like, okay, you know, that makes more sense on why men have to put a little more effort in to really understand everything that's around them on this planet, whereas with women it's just naturally born in us. It just kind of comes to us, right? Like women's intuition, we give birth, these hormones, we're connected to the moon, we are connected to like actual Earth. And you know, it's not that men aren't, it's that there has to be recognition of the female power in order for men to really embody their own power. And I do believe that this is because of this part of the whole saga when men were left here. And John Lambash has a lot of work on this, where he says this is where men in the Orion system, they landed somewhere and they became hunter shamans, and who eventually made it to Earth because they were compelled by the female half of their species. So anyways, Sophia left them there. She was like, okay, like we're split, I've got to leave you here. But the female aspect, the female genome, was still enmeshed within her, and she's still barreling through space at this time. So she eventually comes to a point of just clarity in her mind where she thinks, okay, tri-body system, a planet, a setting for humanity to have life and interact with each other, a nearby star to keep us warm because that's necessary for life, and also a satellite to regulate the tides and in turn the bodies of women, because that's what the moon does basically. And also with our mind, like people get crazier when the full moon's out, like that's just true. And so she had this thought, and so as we've seen in this story, that when she has a thought, it just becomes reality. And she created, like, this is a little bit fuzzy, but she created a protection around her, and this might be the asteroid belt. And she began to turn her body into planet Earth. Okay? And as she's doing this, she gets caught in a system that is devoid of life, that was made by the demiurge, which is the 7 planets surrounding us. That is why there's no life on these planets. That is why there's 7 of them, and why the number 7 is huge in the Bible, and is, you know, it's the demiurge has 7 main archons, and they each rule a planet. And, you know, something that I've grappled with over my time is the planet Venus. And, you know, that's the most female planet. That's Aphrodite, Venus coming out of the water, you know. And in my opinion, archons can defect, and they can choose the side that they're on. And although there is an argument to be made about the dark mother energy of being the complete inverse of feminine power for life and instead being power for death. But I haven't fully fleshed that out yet, because there's a lot of people who I see on Twitter, because I talk about the goddess all the time, and they say, you know what, there's this dark side and that she's evil and blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to discount anything that anybody says, because, you know, I'm just shooting shit at the wall most of the time. However, it does make sense that these planets are archons, and I do believe that the female, and there is even a male in the text that they said to have defected, was that there is still choice for archons. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you can trust the energies that are coming at you, and if they make you feel paranoid and gross and disgusting, it's not one that is good for you to engage with. However, if the demiurge created a feminine planet, and then just by nature of her being female, she had more of a connection to Sophia, and in turn defected to the side of Sophia, or was the planet Venus just something that was dormant that got activated with Sophia as she came into the picture? Because that is something else if to integrate into this story that is huge and very profound, is the electric universe theory of the entrance of the goddess, is the entrance of Venus. This is, you know, it's huge, and excuse me for not talking about it very eloquently, but please go look it up, because it is a really fabulous story of the comet Venus coming into the Storia at a certain time, and you know, this could be the entrance of Sophia. This could be the entrance of the wisdom goddess at a certain time in history, and perhaps the viewpoint of those people seeing it, maybe they weren't on Earth. Maybe they were on another planet. Maybe, you don't know. Like, there is so much deep human history that we see in mythology that we haven't understood, because there's so much that they are trying to delete from our brains and from our history. So anyways, I like Venus and I love Aphrodite, and I love, you know, that feminine power that, you know, because she is a war goddess. And you know, this is what I get like thrown at me sometimes, was there's a war goddess, and that the violence of that sense can't be you know, something that comes from the goddess who made us. And I'm like, well, you know, like, look at Kali, like, look at, you know, there is a warrior aspect to the goddess that I don't think is, well, I think that it's feared too much, because there are people who are doing shitty things, and it's not so much that they're possessed by the archons and the demiurge, it's that they allow the demiurge and the archons to come through them, and allow, because humans are really the only ones that have like a stage in Sophia's story, because that's really where we are. We are in the dreaming mind of the goddess who turned herself into planet Earth. And there are there are archons that have us in their web, and you know, it's not necessarily that they can do anything, but they do, and they can psychically access us when we give them the ability to do that. Now, how do we give them the ability to do that? Well, we tune into their frequencies. They are sending us frequencies all the time psychically that have the frequencies of fear, of paranoia, of ickiness. You know, if you're feeling those things, then you might be receiving messages from the demiurge and the archons, because they're jealous of you and they don't want you to have the happiness that Sophia wants you to have. All that being said, it is very important to note that Sophia, the Aeon who made you, became the planet Earth. She is Gaia. She is Gaia Sophia. That is why in all of my videos and all of my works, I hugely emphasize that if you are trying to find Sophia, if you're trying to find the goddess, your first step needs to be to Gaia, needs to be to nature, needs to be to your body. It's immediate. The presence of the goddess is so immediate, we miss her. She designed this. She is the air that we breathe. She is the reason that we can manifest. She is the infinite intelligence all around us. She is wisdom. She is so present. She's just like pushed up against us. She is the one that comes through us, and we see her and she receives us. And it is the most profound mystery that once you really taste it and get the flavor and really saturate yourself in it and allow your life to reorient to the goddess, that you realize it is not your desires coming through you from your heart. It is the goddess enlivening you and also gifting you life on the outside and the inside. She's both. So when we allow our imagination that we've been given by the goddess to be what we really desire, to be what our heart is telling us, not society's influence, not the messages of fear, that when we allow our heart to sing and to lean into beauty, that is when more beauty can expand. And that's the signature of the goddess, baby. It's beauty, you know? And I do want to just touch on that John Lamlash just talked about this too, about the planet Jupiter is the impact, is the influence of her male counterpart, is Thelete, is the Aeon Thelete essentially kind of took over Jupiter as an avatar to be here in order to assist Sophia in her mission to give us the fullness of life. So it's not that he's not around, it's not that he's not here, it's also, I don't really think that he's Jesus Christ either. Like, there's something about the story of Jesus that doesn't sit right with me. And I'm sure, well, I don't think there's any Christians that would actually watch this. However, there's just something about the commodification, I hope that's a word, of Jesus Christ, in that you have to turn the other cheek, that you have to blah, 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 blah. And it's not that he might have been a real person, and I think he was probably like a fucking wizard or some shit, like doing all his magic stuff. And I just think that that magic that we're missing is, well, it's still here today, but it's practiced in the dark, and it's hidden because we have such immediate access to that magic by nature of us being human, is that we are in the dream of the goddess who is dreaming us alive. You have to think, if you are having a lucid dream, there's people all around you, those are technically you, they're technically your mind. So if we are in the dreaming mind of the goddess who made us, the Aeon Sophia, who creatively imagined a solution for humanity and then became the planet for us to live upon, to live within, to thrive within, then we are technically like her little dream members. So when we can sync our inner dreams that come from our heart with the reality around us, and trust that she is really there, and trust that she is the two-way street engaging with us, then we can really allow actual miracles to manifest in our lives, and she will show up. And I just wish, it is my desire, and that is why I share these videos, is that more people can tap into this, and that they can know that it's not just Abraham, and it's not just a Buddha sitting around and saying you have to get rid of all your desires. That no, there's actually a story that is much more rich, that has so much more depth, that you can find like the why, and why she became our planet, how she became our planet, that her emotions and her sweat is the sweet water, and her tears are the salt water, and her emotions are the mountains, and that there are treasures in each person, and there's treasures hidden in different areas of the world where you can find that you are closer to the magic that is us and is life in every single part, in every single way. And I hope that this story reaches somebody and really just allows you to engage with her. And the first step to engaging with her is, I mean, you can just say it. You can just be like, hey, listen, Sophia, Gaia Sophia, I am ready for you to step into my life in a meaningful way that grants me memory of you and more beauty every single day. Because if you just focus on beauty and what is, you know, and I'm not talking about superficial beauty, I'm talking about real beauty that you can feel, where you feel beautiful because you are loving and caring your body, caring for your body. Beauty in a sense that you are caring for others and you're creating a beautiful moment. You know, these kinds of things, that is what allows the frequency, because we are energetic beings. I believe that the energy that we live in is the dream of the goddess. So when we allow the frequency or the resonance of the goddess to be more present in our life, to direct our life more and more, and by leaning into the beauty of life we do that, she allows you receive from her, because she's always sending it. She is always sending the energy of harmony, of beauty, of care to us all the time. It's just a matter of us actually feeling that we're worthy of receiving it and being like, okay, you know what, I see that. I'm going to accept this gift and feel thankful for this gift. And that is what allows more of it to come into our lives, is because she is here, so present, so immediately present with us as our planet, as the air that we breathe, as the water that we drink, that we literally, most of us just miss her. And we just think that these other stories that we're being bombarded with all the time, of that, you know, you're not good enough, that that everything has to be perfect, and that there is a creator that is perfect and he created you and he created this prison planet and you're just stuck here in your karma. Like, no, denied. We are here in the beautiful dreaming mind of the goddess who made us. And yes, there is a male presence, but he is in support and in assistance of the goddess, who is correcting her original mistake, the original anomaly of the deficiency of the male, which was her imagining a solution for humanity to thrive without her male counterpart. She is here to correct that, because after that, a series of anomalies happened, and now she is awake in her lucid dream. She is coming in your dreams. She is coming in your imagination. She is coming in your meditations. She is coming in just your thoughts. I get people tell me all the time that they start hearing the name Sophia and then they just go into this. Or even just Gaia. Like, if you don't know what else to do and you're like, I want to connect with the goddess, but I don't know how, sit beside a tree and ground in, imagine roots going down. You know what? Let's just do, I know this video is like super long, but we'll just do a little quickie meditation. Okay? So I want you to be comfortable, close your eyes, sit down, relax, what have you. Okay? Now, I want you to take a deep breath with me, and when you breathe in, I want you to do your best to make your belly really big. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it. 2, 3, 4, and let it all out. Okay, now I want you to imagine or notice or observe that there is a beautiful white pillar of light that you see above your head. And I just want you to notice that as you observe it, you notice that it's there the whole time. And this beautiful white light, this sparkly white light, is coming from the pleroma, the center of our galaxy, and it's coming all the way down. As you observe it, it's like it's activated, and you brighten it up. And just notice that it goes into your crown, goes through your head and relaxes your head and your jaw and your tongue and your mouth. and goes down your chest, down your arms, out your hands, on your back, and your torso, your hips, your back, even further, and down your legs, your thighs, your knees, and out your feet. And just notice now that this white light is continuing all the way down beneath you. It's still going, it's still coursing through you. And just watch as it goes further down beneath you. It goes down to the dirt, down into the ground, down into the earth, and deeper, deeper, past layers of rock and sediment. Just notice that it continues all the way down. You might pass through layers of underground lakes, layers of further stone, some molten layers. And just notice that your energy finally reaches the center of our planet. Notice now that this pillar of light has grounded into the center of our planet, and you may notice that it is grounded into a central crystal. Whatever this crystal is, whatever color it is exactly the energy that you need right now. And just notice that you are now inside of this crystal. And allow the energy of this crystal to just revamp your energy field. As you feel ready, just notice that there's a doorway in this crystal. And just notice that you're already stepping out to this doorway, and as you do, you step onto dirt and you feel the feeling of really nourishing earth like you felt when you were a kid, just like squeezing your toes in the earth, and now it just felt so grounding. I just want you to notice that you are in a giant cave, the center of our planet. As you're here, I want you just to feel nourished and safe and supported. And just notice now that you start to see this giant being walking over towards you. And you feel compelled by this being, you feel compelled in love, like you just know this being, that you just know that they are here to welcome you. And as you get closer to each other, you start to notice that she has the form of a woman's body. As you get closer, you can see that maybe her skin is made of earth. She might be green, she might be blue, you might see feathers in her hair, you might hear birds chirping, you might see flowers. And just know that this is Mama Gaia. She is here to welcome you into her power center, the center of our planet, the center of her life, of your life, together. Just notice now that she's standing in front of you and she pulls you into her embrace. And as she does, you just feel so calm and loved and cared for. And as you're in her embrace, just feel your hearts connect. The beautiful golden light energy. You may feel some recalibration here in your heart center. And Gaia wants you to know that she's so happy that you're here and so happy that you want to remember and recalibrate to her existence in your life and what that looks like and how you can be with her moving forward in your life in all ways. She says you're ready to take this next step. You're ready to increase the depth in your life, of taking it further, of knowing who you are, of allowing your desires, your real heart-centered desires, to take place in the central play where she is the grand director and you are her favorite actor or actress. And as she is your creative director, producer of the setting of your story. Just know that this means that you can look to her for the cues that you need, of what you need to say, of where you need to be. And she speaks to you through your intuition, especially through your heart feelings and your gut feelings. That's her voice. That's her direction. She wants you to know that you can trust her, and you may not see results immediately like you do in a lucid dream, but just know that you are in her lucid dream, and her scale is a little bit bigger than yours. And it might take a little bit more of your time, because in her time it's instant. She just wants you to know that she loves the beauty of who you are. And the more that you express the beauty of who you are, the more that she shines her spotlight on you to further create more beauty here, because that's the MO. That's her point. Beauty of motion, beauty of you interacting with her, the one who created your genome. Seeing you thrive is all she wants. Just notice you may feel her hands on your head or in certain places of your body, just providing you with some extra healing and care to these places if you need. She just wants you to know that she is always with you. And this sort of recalibration session is just a reminder of that. That she's always with you. As your Mother Earth, as the Holy Spirit, as your intuition, as infinite intelligence, as holy wisdom. They're all her. Just take a moment to say thank you to Gaia, to say thank you for all of nature, to say thank you for all of her frequencies that are just sending you messages all the time of support and love and how you can take your life further. Thank you. Just notice now that she lets you go from her embrace. She walks you back over to the crystal where you came in, and just notice that your energy, this white light, is still barreling down into this crystal. And just notice now, you still have that beautiful golden heart connection with Gaia. And as you step back into this crystal, the white light starts to turn gold. Maybe it's just on the outside, maybe it's all gold. Just notice now that you start to follow this energy pillar back up, turning it gold as you go up through the roof of the cave, up through the molten layers of lakes, rocks, sediment, dirt, and earth, till you're finally back in your body. And just notice that you see this golden pillar of light go all the way back up to the pleroma and all out around you. You may see that your aura is now expanded. You may see it expand hundreds of feet in front of you. You may see it expand just in your room or your home. You may see it expand across the whole planet maybe. Just give yourself a moment to wiggle your toes, your arms, come back to your body. And this is how you connect with the goddess. You connect with her in every single way, every single day, especially through your intuition. But I just find that because of all the messaging that we get all the time of Abrahamic religion, blah, 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 that you can't trust your own intuition, that you have to pay some dude to give you the thing that you need to do. It has just screwed with us so much that we do need that recalibration back to nature, back to the goddess, which is really just a remembrance, just a signal to ourselves to be like, oh yeah, she's there. Don't worry, she's always there. Even as green Tara, like I said, you might see her as green. I see her as green sometimes. Anyways, I hope that was nice for you, and I hope that this is a message for somebody to know that there is more than what the media is telling you in forms of options of higher powers. You know, there's something that is really powerful that is giving you your life already, and she's the one who made your life in the first place. Anyways, that's all I got for today. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.